Jodhpur, the question was implicit in friends' reactions when we mentioned that we were heading to the Blue City. Now, everyone's heard of Jodhpur, but you'll rarely hear gushing rhapsodies of praise about the capital city of the erstwhile kingdom of Marwar. But that's only because of the stellar company the city keeps in Rajasthan. Udaipur is like the pageant winner who has the world fawning all over her. Jaipur's pink is everyone's favourite colour, and the golden sands of Jaisalmer draw scores of visitors to India's most popular desert oasis. In this starry milieu, Jodhpur, the Sun City, is somewhat obscured by its shinier counterparts in Rajasthan. There's always an appropriate form of transport for every place, and this classic Mercedes is just the perfect fit for Jodhpur. In this city that revels in its heritage and past glories, retro is not a passing fad. Rajat Singh is an automobile enthusiast, and even though this is the first time we've met, he and I have been corresponding regularly on automotive forums for the last 1 year. But more on that later. Right now, Rajat is taking us around on a whirlwind tour of his city.
जोधपुर में अपने आप में बहुत कुछ है, बट वही बात है कि कंपेयर टू उदयपुर, उदयपुर का नाम ज़्यादा है, इसमें करने के लिए बहुत कुछ है. It is only confined na 2 things, 3 things.
Hunting lodge on top of a chattan.
How do they even get in there? Where's the entry?
There's a very typical staircase going up there.
Inside the rock or outside?
No, outside. Carved in the rock.
Really? Yeah.
Jaswant Tara is a memorial for Maharaja Jaswant Singh II, who ruled Jodhpur for the better part of the 19th century. Built by the king's son in 1889, it's the most striking structure in Jodhpur after the Mehrangarh fort that it lies adjacent to. One of the most imposing and possibly the best maintained forts in the entire country, Mehrangarh is still owned and run by the erstwhile royal family of Jodhpur. The ramparts of the fort, lined with cannons, are no longer open to visitors, a consequence of a fatal selfie accident in 2016. A shame, because these afford phenomenal views of the old city.
I think the whole thing in Rajasthan is these forts occupying these hillocks and like these commanding vantage points. These are like almost like military cities that way. That is the whole raison d'etre of town. So we just went through the cantonment area.
Yeah, that was the cantonment area.
Quite a large cantonment in Jodhpur. Huge. Well, I mean,
I believe it's one of the biggest in Asia.
One of the biggest in Asia. Yeah. Well, Jodhpur does have actually Rajasthan in general has such an old association with the armed forces.
True.
But you had family in the army.
My grandfather was in World War II. He was decorated with the military cross.
Oh, really?
For action in Salerno and during the Salerno landing.
Salerno is Italy.
Salerno is in Italy.
Oh, that's right. Indian soldiers fought all over the world, right?
Yeah,
In the world wars. During World War II, what was the biggest invasion at the time took place in 1943 at Salerno in Italy. The Italians had just surrendered and the Allied armies turned their attention to the country that was still occupied by German forces. Amongst the first battalions to land at the beach in Salerno was the Jodhpur Sardar Infantry, a regiment of the Jodhpur State Forces. In face of heavy enemy fire, Rajat's grandfather, Captain Dungar Singh, led 60 men of his company and took ammunition and supplies to a forward post to which access was impossible except on foot, a feat for which he was awarded the Military Cross.
My great-grandfather was in World War I. He fought in France. He fought in Jordan Valley.
Really?
And he also got decorated with various medals. We did not have any of those, but I found one of those medals.
Rajat narrated an incredible story about how he tracked down his great-grandfather's medal awarded for combat in the First World War all the way to a collector in Canada and then subsequently to an ex-officer of the British Army in London.
Man, that is an incredible story. You're really sort of into old things, man. But of course, this is not only an old thing, this also happens to be like a family heirloom almost.
Yeah.
More than an heirloom, if you ask me, actually.
That's why I call it the lost star.
The lost star. Well,
And I got it back.
well, you're certainly not the lost star, are you? The guy who brings back the lost star is a shining star.
We're staying in Rajat's old ancestral house, a pretty century-old Haveli that he's converted into a homestay. Right across is a garage where he parks and works on his cars. The ride in the Mercedes was great, but what I really want to have a look at is his Ambassador Avigo, a car that I happen to own and love.
Hi.
What's happening? Wow, wow, wow.
Just
Kya baat hai.
checking a bit.
Oh, your mug is nice, but this, what a cracker of an Avigo, yeah, beautiful.
This car is how Rajat and I got acquainted in the first place. As owners of a car that's gone out of production, we met on online forums where people hunt for hard to find spare parts. The first time I saw pictures of Rajat's Avigo, I was blown away by what he's done with it.
Beautiful. How long have you had this?
I got it in 2017.
2017. And what model is it?
It is 2005.
2005, huh? It looks like it's just literally come out of the showroom, yeah, except that they never made it like this.
I got it repainted. Actually, I was looking for a car ambassador for quite some time.
I see.
And I searched for almost like 2.5 years. 2014, they stopped the...
2014 was the last one to roll out of Uttarapara, wasn't it?
Exactly,
Yeah, that's
Uttarapara, right. So that was when I really decided I want one and started searching. 2017, I found this one. Initially, I didn't know what is this. This is a very different, not a very normal ambassador. No?
Right. I mean, it was a failed attempt. Apparently, they only made 200-300 of them. Wow. I think that is the only thing I'm not particularly sure about. Everything else is stitch, but
yeah, this is a bit too wide. Actually, I wanted to get it copied from Oxford Series 3.
Which was the predecessor of the
Landmaster. When we had Landmaster in India,
Right.
they were having in Australia and UK, they had Oxford Series 3 or
Right.
2, I'm not very sure.
Beautiful British green.
Beautiful one. And this part on the bonnet of Series 3 is amazing.
The car didn't always look like this. Rajat bought it for a song and then set upon a painstaking restoration which he carried out right here in his garage. Launched in the 2000s, the Avigo was a last-ditch attempt to leverage the Ambassador's retro appeal. And it's such a shame that this car wasn't produced to acceptable standards of quality and finish, because the story for Hindustan Motors might have turned out very differently had that been the case.
I have a better system than yours.
Yeah, definitely. This is a Chinese one. But I...
Chinese system. काफी पैसा खर्च किया आपने इस पे. ये खोल के दिखाइए.
पैसा तो खर्च कर दिया, yes, but it has been parked for so long.
You need to drive this car every day. Look at that. Wow, wow. A sunroof and an Ambassador. Unbelievable.
The Mercedes-Benz 123 is probably one of my favorite cars of all time. Certainly not a unique choice, this cult car is widely considered one of the greatest automobiles ever made. There are just too many reasons to recount why that's the case. Let's just say it was way ahead of its time technologically, looked fantastic and was built to last forever. Which is why I wasn't surprised to see it in the last dystopian Mad Max flick. I mean, of all the cars ever made, the W123 is probably one that's most likely to survive in a post-apocalyptic world.
This one is a classic. Classic. I mean, I could just do this all day. Satisfying
that click,
clunk
that-
of a... So this is what keeps you busy in Jodhpur, huh? 2 cars?
Off
Obviously,
season.
one more motorcycle?
Off season. My wife and son are coming soon, so then they'll be
As an
close in there.
afterthought, the wife and son are also coming. Yes, that's right. Then they go into the garage. Who? The cars.
The cars, not
Rajat's family is perplexed by his obsession with his cars. I get that. People often ask me, why do you drive an ambassador car? And I tell them, well, you don't choose who you love. This car is a classic manifestation of all the notions of good taste and beauty. Someone once said that if you don't stop and glance back to admire your car when you've parked it, then you're driving the wrong car. By that yardstick, the Vigo and Rajat are made for each other.
All Indians love sweets, but the residents of Jodhpur are next level connoisseurs. I've found one such sugar fiend to take me on a dessert tour of the city. Sunil Joshi is a lawyer, and we're meeting up at one of the most iconic street food shops in town. Surya Namkeen's samosas are supposed to be the best in town.
Sunil Joshi, how are you doing?
Hi, man, I'm good, yeah. All good.
So this is Surya Namkeen.
This is Surya Namkeen, yeah.
I heard this was #1 in Jodhpur. Is that
It's
right?
number 1. It's like you Googled it somewhere, huh?
No, somebody told me this is
That's
#1. This one is famous. So what are these guys famous for?
This place is famous for namkeen. In Hindi we call namkeen, but here namkeen is like samosa,
Yeah.
kachori, and mirchi vada.
Okay.
This particular place is very famous for its samosa.
Okay.
But the mirchi vada is good as it.
Okay, let's try it
So
out.
you can try mirchi vada here and see. It was in the recent news that we have sold like this, not this place, but in all over Jodhpur, there are like 1 lakh mirchi vada they have sold in a one day.
Wow.
We have एक samosa, एक mirchi vada.
So one samosa
And one mirchi vada, yeah.
And one mirchi.
So this is samosa
All right, I'll have the samosa. Nice.
and this is mirchi vada.
They must sell a lot of bread here also.
Yeah, the bread business is also flourishing in Jodhpur because of these namkeens.
Right.
So this we were talking about the bread business also.
Right.
So all over Jodhpur there are like almost 70 to 80 famous places where they sell like 1 lakh mirchi vadas every day. And if you talk about this particular shop,
Yeah.
they make it up to 3,500 every day.
Wow.
So you just try it. I
So what's the thing about having the bread with the samosa? I've never seen anyone have
it's
bread
very
with samosa.
spicy. So they make it a sandwich.
Oh.
See, you have to make it a sandwich of it. Just compress it like this.
Oh, it becomes like a little hamburger.
You take this. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, you want me to try the mirchi, huh?
Yeah, yeah, that mirchi.
That's your
this is the-
plan. All right.
But the mirchi is not that spicy. This is a particular type of mirchi which comes from Gujarat most of the time. This is Bhavnagari mirchi.
Mirchi vadas are deep-fried chili fritters, thoughtfully sandwiched between 2 slices of bread to take some of the heat off.
You want to try samosa?
Yeah, I'll try the Jodhpur's #1 samosa, is it?
Yeah. With the cashew in it.
I'm lucky. That's all right.
So which one do you think is better? Samosa or mirchi? Samosa?
Crunchy.
It's crunchy, yeah. The mirchi
Right.
is not that crunchy, but it is a spicier one.
It's crunchy, it's fresh, it's rich in flavor. It's hot, it's spicy, but not too much.
Too much.
Not too much. Pretty good balance.
There are people in Jodhpur who can gulp 30 mirchi vadas in one go.
One of these.
One of these 30, 30, yeah.
Well, that sounds like a competition I don't want to be in.
I'm done with it.
Well,
I'll keep my appetite for that.
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I want to save some room for what's ahead. Where are we off to next?
We will be going that side, the city area starts from there.
Yep.
When you see that old wall, from where we'll start our journey.
What's the name of this shop?
So this is Raj Alpar restaurant. It is famous for its food, like since it is dominated most of by the Brahmins here.
Okay.
Here we are not going to try everything because they have the huge menu. Better we go with the sweet, that is meva cream. So we'll be trying this.
There it is. Wow.
Mewa cream, which Sunil insists is a classic, is probably not as popular simply because its sugar quotient isn't off the charts. A simple concoction of dry fruits in condensed milk is probably the most well-balanced dessert I've tasted in India.
Whoa, 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 whoa. All right. Yep, let's go.
This is the shop here.
All right, what's the name of this sweet
This
shop?
is Mohanji.
Mohanji.
Yeah.
Laddu.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this looks like no laddu I've ever seen before.
This is where Jodhpur is very famous for this.
Okay.
Yeah. And Rabdi Laddu, especially this shop.
Like peta from Agra and laddu from Jodhpur.
I would not say that, but yes, this particular Rabdi Laddu is famous.
Okay.
Can you taste milk in it?
No,
No, because it's very sweet.
I can taste sugar. It's sweet.
It's
Very sweet.
It's sweet because it's very fresh. You can try this. We can get it packed, and in the evening you can try it again with your
I
dinner.
think for me this is one of those once in a lifetime experiences. I don't know if I want to.
Laddus are such a staple in India that it amazes me that even this quintessential dessert can be differentiated. I mean, what's to separate one laddu from another? Levels of sweetness, for one. These are off the charts.
So we are going to this very famous gulab jamun shop.
Oh, now we get to the gulab jamun show.
Yeah, the another sweet which the Jodhpur is famous for.
All right.
See, these are the gulab jamun. There is no gulab, there is no rose, and there is no jamun in it, but it's a sweet. Yeah.
All right. I'll go for it, I suppose.
for
Dig
one.
in.
Yeah. One more sweet.
So this is the most famous.
Gulab jamun in Jodhpur, yes.
So each different sweet shop are famous for one particular sweet.
Particular shop because that is their USP. They make it the best. Like Monji's laddu you have tried. You would not find that good laddu anywhere in Jodhpur. The same with the gulab
Wow.
jamun.
That is a good gulab jamun.
Good gulab jamun.
The gulab jamuns, though, pun intended, really take the cake. There are no two ways about it. These are the tastiest I've ever had.
One more. That's it.
That's it?
One more shop. One more.
One more
no,
shop?
No, one more. Not one more of this.
I thought you are
No, not one more after this. I'm saying one more sweet shop.
one more
Then-
sweet shop. But there are like 20 shops.
I know.
No,
I
no,
know.
no.
You're scaring me right now. The 5th course meal in a 5-course meal dessert special. Can't get any sweeter than this.
Jalebis. I love these. This shop is run by a big man known as Motu Halwai.
We have 20 ki jalebi. there.
It's a little bit of everything. So this is the fifth meal.
Yeah.
It's the dessert of the desserts. Does that mean it's the sweetest? How is it?
It's good, but again,
But it should have been fresh.
it's not that fresh. Because we are late. We have to be here by 2:30 or 3 to have the fresh jalebi. Thereafter, they stop making fresh jalebi.
It's still a pretty good jalebi.
Yeah, it's crispy. And they are fried in ghee, if you know.
Really?
Yeah, they are not in the oil.
Oh. We've ate up so many different sweet shops. Why don't we just go and relax somewhere? It's really hot also. Why don't we just go relax somewhere?
We are going to this place. This is a rooftop restaurant. It's again in the city.
Yeah?
And you will having very good view of the fort,
That
the
sounds
complete view of
perfect.
fort, and I guess you will enjoy the sunset there.
That sounds perfect. We can set up a time lapse.
So after that, we will be going there.
Death by sweetness. I'm done with desserts for the rest of the trip.
If you're in Jodhpur, I think you have to spend at least a night in a traditional red sandstone Haveli. If you have the money, you can go and stay in the palace. But even if you don't, there are a number of smaller Havelis, homestays, family run, that really add to the experience of being in this city. It's not like I don't like big hotels. I do, but I like them in big cities. Contrast that to staying in a place like this. Now this is our host Rajat Singh's 150-year-old house. It belonged to his grandfather and he's restored it. But just by dint of staying here, we've gotten insights into Jodhpur that we would never have got had we stayed at a bigger hotel. You know, we've hung out with his family, they've told us where to go eat, what the best vantage points in town are, and they've told us some great stories, including the one that Rajat told us in the car the other day about reclaiming his great-grandfather's Medal of Valor, which he'd won in the First World War, almost 100 years after that medal had disappeared, and bringing it home. Now, as a writer, stories like that are pure gold, and I really want to find out more about that. So I'm going to go and catch him now.
So Meraj, this is my grandfather's. This was in Salarno, Captain Thakur Dungar Singh.
Dungar Singh.
Indian State Forces.
Indian State Forces. They were called the Indian State Forces.
Yeah, because it was the Maharaja's unit.
This is beautiful, yeah.
This is the Lost Star, 1914-15 cross, First World War. This one was given for action in France.
Right.
Those who were in action
Right.
were given this, who actually fought. They were not just sitting stationed there.
Almost 150,000 Indian soldiers died overseas in World Wars I and II. Wars that these men were unwittingly embroiled in simply because India was colonized by the British. Their crucial contribution to the Allied war effort is only beginning to get the acknowledgement it deserves. Matters of honor are difficult. But there's no false pride in honoring courage and the brave men who swore allegiance and kept their word.
In this city, built by men of means, two men of leisure proceed to paint the town red, blue, and purple, because our lives, dear viewer, are devoted solely to your viewing pleasure. Don't miss the next episode of our adventures in Jodhpur.